This new version of The Magnificent Seven is directed by Antoine Fuqua and stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Peter Sarsgaard. It's about a small town that gets overtaken and basically ruled by a businessman played by Peter Sarsgaard. So they hire 7 gunmen to come in and pretty much help save the town and fight off the invading bandits. And that's pretty much it. It's the same classic story that's been retold for decades. And the original Magnificent Seven, I'm gonna be honest, I've never actually seen. But I have seen the movie that it is a remake of, which is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. I've talked about how Akira Kurosawa is such an amazing filmmaker and how his films are so influential in my review for The Hidden Fortress, which you can find on my channel. So when it comes to these kinds of movies where it's a timeless tale that's told over and over again, I don't really have a problem with it getting a remake or another retelling. It really does have a star-studded cast, mainly in Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt, who are the 2 leads in this movie, and both of them are really good. Even though there's not a whole lot to their characters, outside of just being a bounty hunter or a gunman, the 2 actors still have really good charisma, and all of the actors in The Magnificent Seven actually work off each other very well. Especially Ethan Hawke and Byung-hun, who is pretty much an Asian cowboy who is really badass with knives. One thing that this movie does really nail is how it feels like a mix of classic American westerns like the original Magnificent Seven and The Searchers, while has elements of spaghetti westerns like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and A Fistful of Dollars, mainly in the music, which was composed by the late James Horner, which this is his final score. And it really does have that blend of real heroic and upbeat American Western music, mixed with the dark Western music that we're really familiar with from stuff, as I mentioned, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and one of my favorite Western things out there, Red Dead Redemption. The gunfights are really intense and very well done. It gives you that good Western feeling, and it's pretty much a really fun Western. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't do anything to make it stand out from other Westerns. It does have a lot of the typical cliches you see in Westerns, like the guy who shouldn't be in town walks into a tavern with both the doors open. There's quick hand shots where the hero shoots the gun out of the bad guy's hands. It does have a lot of those Western trappings, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've seen these trappings in many other great movies before. It's just, this movie in particular doesn't do anything to distinguish itself, to make it special from other Western movies. And then probably the biggest issue with me in this movie is the villain, who is played by Peter Sarsgaard. This character is so uninteresting. He's just basically a evil businessman. But even then, Peter Sarsgaard's performance is really weak. He spends the whole movie looking all snooty, stuck up, and at times maybe a little bit high. Oh, they've hired lawmen to come in and save their town? Well, we'll go there and take it back. I mean, it's not like that. He doesn't have a British accent or anything, but that's kind of the impression. And the way he looks, if that mustache were any longer, he'd be twirling it. Like, that's the one cliche that they left out in this movie. This version of The Magnificent Seven doesn't quite live up to its name, but it is a fun Western that has a decent pace to it, even if the ending does go for a little bit too long. The actors have good charisma, the gunfights are awesome, the cinematography is gorgeous. There are some beautiful shots in this movie that remind me of The Searchers. But it's not the movie that's going to redeem the Western genre from the disaster that was The Lone Ranger. But it is very enjoyable. It's a good movie, but it's not a great movie. For being a retelling of a timeless tale, I do kind of have to take some points off. But for what it is very enjoyable. And that's my review for The Magnificent Seven, the 2016 version. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on this movie, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you, there's only one.